Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Got a guest coming on in just a moment. We love to do guests around here. We're the only podcast, actually, in all of e commerce, to my knowledge, that features hundreds of interviews with students who are succeeding using the strategies we teach on the show. Of course, I'm talking about the Proven Amazon Course strategies found at provenamazoncourse.com. If you're new around here, the one link you're going to need is silentjimdotcom. Go there to find our podcast, our free Facebook group with 76,000 members, a link to the Proven Amazon course, which I just mentioned, and a link to the world's longest running e-commerce coaching program. We've been doing it over 20 years. No one else even comes close to our knowledge that we can find. And we've got so many great success stories over the years. We interview those people on this show, and we'd love to talk to you about your e-commerce dreams, what it is you'd like to accomplish, and how we might be able to help. Get on our schedule by going to silentjim.com, click on coaching, or go straight to our calendar link and book a time to chat with us. silentjim.com/book a call is the link that you'll want to use for that. And you can get on our calendar and have a set appointment at your convenience. All right, today's guest is Greg Webb, and he has written some cool books. We're going to talk about those for kids. And he's got this vision that I just love for helping even the youngest of kids, like I'm talking 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, start to understand the basics of money and business through I would say, a biblically sound, the Austrian economic model, if you will, which I am totally subscribed to. The traditional biblical model that we all believe, free market based model, right? So it's great because he reads a little bit of the book to us today and helps us get to understand that. So we talk a little bit about those kids' books. We talk a little bit about Bitcoin, which I don't think you've ever heard me talk on this show about Bitcoin, but I love Bitcoin. So Greg and I nerd out about that a little bit. He and I actually did a presentation at our 2023 conference on that topic. Not trying to talk anybody into or out of anything, but just making sure you're aware of the facts, because there's a lot of misconceptions, and we're both have studied it a lot, and we're both very much pro Bitcoin, especially not as much as an investment for like next month. Like, can I flip it and make a bunch of money in the next 2 months? No, that's not how we talk about Bitcoin. We talk about it as one of the greatest long-term investments ever presented to humanity. Now, how long it might take, we're not sure, but we're pretty confident it's going to go big at some point, and there's no way it's going away. Absolutely no way it's going away. It's just going to go bigger. That's not investment advice, of course. That's just us speaking from our hearts on our opinions and our thoughts on that. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk about toys. Greg has sold millions of dollars of specifically Legos on Amazon, on eBay, specifically on Amazon, though. How to spot the great deals on Legos before they go big, how to buy and hold, how to buy and flip. He has created great content for our community. You'll hear us talking about it on the show today. Specifically, if you're a proven Amazon course student, you should know that's a library of dozens and dozens of great Amazon strategy courses. One of them that we just added like a few days ago as I'm recording this is called Proven Brick Investing. And we can't use the word Legos in the title of that course, so we use the word brick. You see the play on words there. provenbrickinvesting.com is the website, but don't buy the course there. If you're a proven Amazon course student, it's included in full in the library. Greg created that for us. Like I said, he sold millions of dollars of Legos. He has a mastermind, and I'll stick a link to that in the show notes as well today. He's only got a handful of spots, and this isn't a marketing thing. He lets 100 people in, and that's it. Usually he's tapped out and full. I asked him today before we started the call, do you have any spots in your 100-member mastermind? He said, right now, as of today, we got 10. When you hear this, there may be 0. I don't know, but you can go and apply. There's a waiting list. He only lets in 100 people at a time. And that's the latest details on which sets are about to retire, where the good investment opportunities are with Legos and with toys. And as we are here in the summer of 2024, one of the most responsible things that you could be doing with your inventory planning is looking at toys that are increasingly going to be getting clearanced off and marked down in anticipation of some incredible sales coming in the fourth quarter, in November and December. That's right. Summer's the time to buy and hold toys for a couple months and then watch them rocket off. As long as you're buying the right ones, that's what we teach in that Proven Brick Investing course. That's what Greg focuses on in his mastermind for 100 people. There's links to both of those, all of that in the show notes for today. And we're going to jump over and have a fun conversation with my good friend, Mr. Greg Webb. Enjoy. So, Greg, welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Good to see you, man.
Hey, dude, how you doing?
I'm blessed, dude. Excited for this. I saw it on my calendar today when I woke up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, today's Greg Day. Awesome. Every time you and I get together, it's always, for me, it's inspirational. And I think we end up providing a lot of great content. So just get us updated, maybe for people who don't know who you are. Give us the brief bios, mix in some e-commerce, and then I'm going to hit you with a few questions. You got some projects you're up to right now that I'm super excited about. So just go ahead. Let's go, man.
Yeah, my name's Greg Webb. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. Married, have three young kids under three. Been selling on Amazon and other e-commerce platforms for over a decade now. Wrote a book back in 2019 called Toyfolio that has kind of changed the trajectory of my life, and have helped a lot of people invest in toys since the writing of that book, and lead a mastermind on toys, and have sold a lot of Legos in my time. And yeah, like I said, working on some new projects too.
Yeah. And you're still in full-time ministry?
Full-time ministry, yep. Full-time ministry, still doing all the e-commerce stuff part-time. And so, yeah, my hands are full.
Yeah, I love that we're squeezing this episode in today. When I said, "Hey, man, I got to have you back on the show," he's like, "We got to do it like tomorrow, or I can't because I'm going on a mission trip." And I'm like, "All right, man, we're doing it." So we squeezed it into both our schedules today because you're getting ready to take off with a bunch of kids and go do a bunch of good work for the Lord, man. I love it, brother. But let's dive into some of the stuff you've been working on. I probably mentioned it in the introduction already, but you've sold millions of dollars of Legos. You've helped a lot of other people do really well with Legos. The Proven Brick Investing module inside the Proven Amazon course. That's you, that training our community on how to do Legos. You spoke at our last event in May, and Lord willing, we'll do it again May 2025 in Orlando again, right? Have you back. But yeah, just talk to me a little bit about here's the new part of your story. For those who haven't heard your story before, go back in time. You've been on the show before, search and find those episodes. But the new projects you've been working on, let's spend a little bit of time on that. I want to start there. You got this book you've written. Talk to me about it.
So, yeah, I've been thinking about writing a kids book series for some time now. I've had the idea for honestly a couple of years, and just I've really started to kind of had a fire lit under me at the beginning of the year to like get this done, because I'm watching my own kids grow up before my eyes, and I really want to instill in them some of the values that I hope this book series will teach young kids. So I've written a book, and it's going to be a series, but the title and the series title is called Entrepreneur. It is a play on words, of course, on entrepreneur and dinosaur.
Entrepreneur and dinosaur, entrepreneur. I love it.
Yeah.
What's that like what's the youngest and oldest age this book is kind of targeted at?
I put it on Amazon from 2 years old to 10, because I know that some older elementary kids may find some value in it, and their parents may find value in it. But it's mainly geared towards toddlers and preschoolers. I was looking as a dad of three kids under three. We're reading a lot of books right now. We try to read every night before bedtime, and a lot of books are good. They rhyme and they're fun to read and they're enjoyable stories. But I was looking more of something that would teach a valuable lesson about economics to my kid, kind of just getting them introduced to money topics, economics topics. And as I was beginning to search for those type of books, there are some that are out there, but I felt like there was a hole in the market in the preschool money book niche.
Yeah.
And so
let me play the skeptic's role for a second, Greg. And I know exactly how I want to answer this question. I almost want to answer it before I let you answer it, but I'll let you answer it because I hear the skeptic who might be hearing this thinking, and this is an e-commerce show, but we talk about self-publishing and writing books and all that. So, bear with us for a minute on this passion project that Greg and I, we share a lot of similar interests. But who in the world would write a money book for a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old? Like, seriously? 3-year-old? They should be learning what the color red is, not fiscal responsibility and balancing budgets. What are you talking about, man? And now I'm not saying that's me asking that question. I'm trying to play the skeptic's role for a minute. Push back on that. What would you say?
I would say that that kids are more capable of understanding and learning these concepts than we give them credit for. You know, the first book is on hard work, and I've had the opportunity to read that book with my oldest a couple of times now, and it's stirred a lot of conversation on, you
Mhm.
know, how you get things that you want. Because the book centers around, you know, going and working hard, earning money, and going and getting the new toy that you want. And
Yep.
that all of our blessings come from hard work. And that's one of the things that I really want to instill in him. And, you
Yeah.
know, books 2 and 3 that are going to be released soon after this. The next one's called Time Preference, a lesson on time preference and opportunity cost. And that, you know, time preference is basically delaying
Delayed
gratification,
gratification. Huge. Yep.
being patient to decide what you want of the most value, you know, not just spending money, you know, recklessly in today, you know, save your money and spend on something you value. Opportunity costs, you know, it's a big word, it's a big concept to try to teach a preschooler, but you know, I think they can grasp that, you know, once the money is spent, then it can't be spent somewhere else. And, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a basic, I love in the, something I'm reminded of is in the Hebrew tradition, there's three elements of training a child well for success in adulthood. And it basically involves what I call the horizontal, the vertical, and then the third is money, math, basic money math, so that you can know when you're making a profit or not. You know, work for a company and know if your performance, be able to know if numbers are going up or down, and basic math skills. Right. The vertical and horizontal, of course, are relationships with other people, being able to look someone in the eye, shake their hand, male female relationships, what's a mom, what's a dad, what's an uncle, understanding those roles. That's the horizontal, the vertical being spiritual training. And then you get into basic math, and if you got to have those in the Hebrew tradition, you got to have those. And you're hitting one of those hard early on, as I believe we definitely should as well. One of the things we did with our kids, talking about delayed gratification, this is a test you can do with any child who's capable of understanding the lesson is, hey, okay, we're going to take a snack break. I'm going to get you a cookie for a snack. Yay, cookies. Here's the deal. You have one cookie right now, or if you wait half an hour, I'll give you two cookies. It's up to you, totally, but you have to make a choice, right? Teaching them delayed gratification. Like, wait, even if all I got to do is wait half an hour and I get two cookies instead of just one, and you can just see the wheels turning, man. Like, and those are the wheels of an entrepreneur, right? Those are the wheels of someone who understands delayed gratification and investing,
Yeah.
right? These are spiritual skills. So I love that you're hitting it early on. Well done, man. Do you happen to have a copy of the book handy by any chance?
I actually may.
Yeah, because I'll keep talking while you look around, because I wouldn't mind hearing one for those who are watching on YouTube. We could hold up the cover. Although I'll stick a link in the show notes today. There you go. You got a copy. But I'd love for you to just like open up to a page that you're kind of proud of, flip through, find, and just read me a little bit of this. Like what are you putting in there for a 3, 4, 5, 6 year old? Like just flip to a page. I mean, you don't have to give us the context. I'm just curious, man. I'd love to hear a little bit. I think the listeners might as well. Then we'll move on to another topic. But
Yeah, it kind of hits on, like I said, the whole series is based on Austrian economics and like hard money, Bitcoin, those kind of things. And it kind of like I'm kind of weaving in some of like Rabbi Daniel Lavin stuff,
Mhm.
where you know, the ancient Jewish wisdom and all those good things. So the very beginning, the very first page says, you know, Chad is asking his dad. He says, "Dad, I want to make money to buy a new toy." And his dad's first words are, "The best way to make money is to serve others." And then we just talk about how serving others is the
Yes.
best to do that, and that we have to find things of value. Because in Austrian economics, you know, value is a key word there, and you have to find things. You know, value is subjective. You know, people find different value in different items, different services, that kind of thing. And so they walk around the neighborhood together and they talk to their neighbors. And then, you know, it starts off with Chad just doing chores for his neighbors. You know, he uses a blue vacuum to clean Mrs. Triceratops's house, and she
That's
pays him.
so great, man. And I can see the illustrations for those listening. I mean, it's well done. It looks nice. It looks really professional.
Yeah, but he's got his phone out here, and she's paying him $1 worth of Bitcoin for doing the job.
And he gets paid in Bitcoin. That's
Yeah,
hilarious. Now, we're not here to convince anybody of we're a couple Bitcoin nerds. Greg and I actually did a presentation a while back, on the topic. We're both all in, love it, embrace it, think it's great, think it's the future. We're not here to convince you of that today. Uh, but I do love just the pureness of Bitcoin. And just my briefest, if I had like 30-second elevator pitch for someone, I say it's the first asset in human history that you can own that can't be taken from you by force,
yeah, yeah, and it's
by anyone ever. And that's not true of all crypto, by the way.
yeah,
That's
it's
not true of any other crypto, actually,
yeah,
to my knowledge.
yeah,
It's true only of Bitcoin.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that hopefully we help you down the rabbit trail with that little bit. But you and I know we could easily riff into an hour presentation on just that. But why did you incorporate Bitcoin so strongly into this book? What was your thought process there?
Just because basically in Austrian economics, the thought is that hard money wins. The hardest money that is the hardest to produce. That's what hard means. The
Mhm.
money that's hardest to produce is what the market chooses to use as the money. And so for centuries it was gold, but now we have a new form of money in Bitcoin that's even harder to produce than gold.
Yeah,
And so I think that has already gained a lot of popularity over the last 15 years. But I especially think that as my kids grow up and this next generation grows up, that you know it's just going to be the new thing. It's going to be the new normal of what
yeah, I
currencies are.
completely agree. I
You know,
completely agree. You look at places like El Salvador, where it's going extremely well, and I was laughing. Germany sold off almost all of its Bitcoin about
um,
a week before it just rocketed back up again. I'm like, oh man, I would stink to be the guy in Germany that made that decision. But I really think in our lifetimes we're going to see just ridiculous, changes in the way we view Bitcoin and in the results people are going to get for it. But this isn't me giving financial advice. Obviously, what we're not allowed to do that actually. But I can tell you that I'm a lot more excited about the Bitcoin I have than the dollars I have,
yeah.
for
and
sure.
the series is not like hardcore Bitcoin. Like he
Sure.
owns Bitcoin in this book, but like the next book on time preference, Bitcoin's never even mentioned.
Yeah, of course. Sure,
It's
sure. But you're just introducing the terminology,
yeah,
yeah. So as they age and you can go a little deeper on those topics and talk about it. I love it. Well done, man. Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but before we move off the topic of Bitcoin, a couple more resources for people who might be interested. I recorded an audio that I called the biblical case for Bitcoin. I haven't talked about it on the podcast before, I don't think. I did it a couple years ago. It's got great feedback from folks who've listened. That's at silentjimdotcom/BB, as in biblical case for Bitcoin. Someone could easily go make a biblical case why they hate Bitcoin. Okay, go for it. But this is me coming at it from a historic lens, just thinking it through out loud. And then the book, I'm pretty sure if I remember correct, you liked this book as well. The Bitcoin Standard, right? Was that one you typically recommend to people?
it's excellent book.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you pronounce that guy's last name? Amos?
Yeah, Seyfedin Amos.
Amos. Seyfedin Amos, The Bitcoin Standard. Yeah. Good book. Bestseller. So go check it out. All right. Well, let's keep rocking on to maybe some other topics. Now, one of the ways you've brought so much value to our community, Greg, is Legos and toys. And I know here we are right in the middle of summer of 2024. Pretty good time to move your focus to toys. Why is that? Talk me through it and give us some just generic tips. People who don't want to take a course or go out and study for hours, just like talk me through the landscape for a minute of toys. Why toys in the summer?
So in the toy arena, I kind of think of like July 1st as like this magic date of, you've kind of crest the hill and like everything's downhill from now into Christmas. And so you have like all these toy sales that are going to be happening in the next 5, 6 months that it just, the momentum just keeps increasing all the way through Christmas. And so what you have happening right now, like as we speak, Walmart and Target and some of the major retailers are doing toy clearance. And so they're marking down things to a deep discount in some cases where people can go in and do retail arbitrage and they can, buy low and sell high now because the discounts are so steep, or they can likely hold for a better profit in Q4 if they choose. And it won't be true for every item, but the idea is that if Walmart and Target are clearancing them out and they no longer have them on their shelves, then the better that the item will do in Q4 on Amazon because it doesn't exist in a retailer anymore. They're doing some stuff online now with Prime Days, and there'll be more other sales. Like last year, Amazon had a Prime Day in like September, October. There'll be those type of sales going into Q4 as well. So you have the clearance side now, but then the reason that there is clearance is because all the new release stuff
Right.
needs a place to go on the shelf.
Yep.
And so it's having to pay attention to two markets where you got all these toys that are clearancing out, and you have all the toys that are coming to market as brand new. And so, what I like to do, especially for the brand new things, is to one, keep an eye in retail stores as I'm doing clearance. But I like to go on my Amazon seller app and just kind of daily look through the hot new releases or the movers and shakers list, or those type of lists, and kind of get a feel for what new toys are already starting to take off. Because what happens with the new release toys is that there's a first wave that kind of hits the US market. They get a lot of traction on Amazon.com. And sometimes or it was very true last year, a couple of the ones got a lot of traction early. And you have these windows of opportunity for a couple months where a hot toy hits the shelf in late July, early August. It sells out really quickly, and you have this huge spike in price on Amazon September and October. And that, in some scenarios, can carry on through Christmas, or it can just be a window until the next wave comes in, or they get their stock for November and December. So there's that to pay attention to. You have all the different secondary retailers that I like to call, like Ollie's and TJ Maxx and Ross, and they're getting
Kroger.
They're getting big supply of toys. These are toys that have been kind of out of retailers for 18 months to 2 years at least, and so a lot of their prices have appreciated on Amazon, and so you get opportunity there. There's just I could talk about each one.
Yeah. Yeah. So much opportunity out there. And especially with, why Lego? Maybe we should, hit the obvious question, as most of your excitement is reserved for Lego. Why is that?
Well, Lego is one of the only toy products where you have a set retirement date, because it's kind of like what we were talking about with Bitcoin earlier in Austrian economics. Like Lego is the hardest toy, if you will, on the toy market, because once sets retire or the production stops, then they don't exist anymore. And so once the supply dries up, the demand increases. On Amazon, you have to pay a premium for those. And so now through Christmas, you'll have a lot of sets that are going to be retired January 1 that'll be on sale. Like right now, you can go into Walmart and buy retiring Legos on clearance at a discount that you won't be able to find on any kind of shelf at a retailer come February.
Yep. So tracking those retiring sets, investing in them, and there's people that do this at scale. There's people that make what you've done chump change. I mean, I've heard of these mega warehouses that are like just all in as one of the best investments, buy and hold investments of our lifetimes. Lego, seriously? Toy? Yes, absolutely. Because the reason you mentioned, like once they're done making them, they're done making them, and the demand curve doesn't stop just because they're done, right? And yeah, I know you've got a mastermind. I'll put a link to it on our show notes today. Go to silentjimdotcom. Look for today's show notes. I'll put a link to Greg's mastermind. He only lets 100 people at a time into this thing. Right now, you said before we hit record, you've got 10 openings.
Well, 10, yes.
Yeah, and this is a group you all hang out together. Is it it's a Is it on a Facebook group? I can't remember where you have this.
WhatsApp group. It's a WhatsApp group, and
A
it's
WhatsApp group.
like we have a conversation in WhatsApp, and then all the different deals and everything are kind of stored in a Google
Right.
folder.
Right.
So,
And you guys all share that folder then access. And yeah, it costs a few bucks to get in, not unreasonable. And you can be a part of Greg's insights and you can see, yeah, just 100 people. That's it. So it's a good way for those who want to kind of shortcut and not have to learn all this on their own. You still have to make calculated decisions. You still have to decide, do I want to buy hold or do I want to flip it now? But you're going to get a big shove in the right direction into this whole arena. And like I said, too, the Proven Brick Investing, you can go see that course at provenbrickinvesting.com. Greg built that. It's included for free now, thanks to your generosity. Thank you, Greg. Inside the Proven Amazon course collection of courses, which features dozens of Amazon selling strategies. But Greg built this particular course for us. A lot of people paid to go through it. We recorded it, and then now we've added it as content into the Proven Amazon course library. Again, links to all this in the show notes today. But what else would you like to talk about, man? We've hit some good stuff today. It's just good to get caught up with you, and I would encourage everyone to go back and listen to your other episodes. You did a great job at our recent conference as well. That's in the Proven Amazon course now as well. Soon, as you know, content the presentations, the sessions from our most recent event. But yeah, what else is on your mind, man?
really enjoyed the conference. I don't think we've had a chance to talk since then.
No, we haven't. It's been a couple months.
It was a lot of fun and enjoyed the presentation. Had a lot of good, positive responses from it. Looking forward to the next year. Maybe even be a sponsor and bring some books, the new books.
Oh, that'd be cool. Have a little booth, man. Inspire some. We've got a lot of good KDP people in our community. Kindle print on demand or Kindle in demand print, whatever it is, KDP. And that's Amazon's self-publishing division. I've actually got a client of mine. It's some students in our community that I'm kind of coaching through some things, but they've got dozens of top-selling homeschool curriculum books that are doing really well. Whole community built around it. It's all based on the KDP, Kindle print on demand.
I kind of want to go in that direction with this book series too, and develop some kind of homeschool resources underneath that brand, because that's where me and my wife are leaning.
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of people are homeschooling, and not to riff off on this topic too much, but I believe every family is a homeschool family. Some
right.
families use a brick building to enhance the homeschool experience. But the vast majority, ideally, at least, of whatever your kids are going to learn in life, they're going to learn at home. So yeah,
Absolutely.
we're all homeschool families. So arm yourself with these resources. And if possible, give your kids the best teachers they could ever have, which is loving parents, man. There's no teacher that's going to ever love your kid as much as their mom does. It's like that person does not exist. So that can be their teacher. Man, that's a beautiful arrangement. And we did that. And we used some pretty non-traditional resources. And it's gone great, man. Our kids are just great. They love each other. As I'm looking out my front window, talk about being industrious. My kid's out. He saw some bushes that needed trimmed. He didn't ask me. He didn't say he was good. He just went and he did it. He just out front. Like I'm watching him do it right now. He didn't come ask if he should do it, or I didn't have to force him into it or say, I'll give you some extra money if you do. Like, no, he just went out and did it. Like, how do you raise kids like that, man? Not that we're perfect parents, but these kind of ideas of, understanding money, understanding relationships, having a walk with God, that's what we did. Not knowing what the result would be, but man, we got some good kids, man. And I know your kids are well on the path to having every opportunity as well. And what's your age range on your kids again?
My oldest is 3 right now. He'll be 4 next month.
Three under three. Yeah.
Yes, and
And you're
then
taking it seriously already, man. I love it,
two,
dude.
2 years old, and then I have a 3-month old. So life has been busy this year.
Oh, I
Um,
bet.
I've had a lot of people ask me how in the world you have time to do the full-time ministry, run the e-commerce and write books at the same time. And I'm like, I just want the best for them. I'm trying to work hard for them and kind of show them the way, but I'm also delegating out to other people too. I have awesome employees that work with me on
Yep.
the e-commerce side, and I delegated all the illustrations to a VA. Like I've been working with the VA, and she's been awesome putting together all the illustrations for all the books and everything. It's I've just had to come up with the words, and I don't know
Yep.
how to do half the stuff. that she does, but she's better at it than me.
Well, we've got another author just reminded me, and by the way, well done, man. You're juggling a lot of different things, but that's the multiple income stream lifestyle. It has you have the flexibility to still be the, the husband and the dad, the man of God that you want to be, and all the flexibility to kind of mix these pieces together. And I often say it's like blending. It's not prioritizing, it's blending. It's not how do you keep how do you keep it all lined up, and like how do you go from one to the other? I'm like, I don't go from one to the other. I am all of them at the same time, all day, every day. They've all been blended. At the same time, I'm being a good husband and dad, and I'm being an entrepreneur and a good friend, and like it's all just blended, man. That's a beautiful way to live. But we've actually got another best-selling author. There's something like Rosie. There, man, I'll stick it in the show notes. Rosie's Red Truck. I can't remember what it was exactly, but she ended up, she came on the podcast. It was someone from our community who just doing Amazon, selling physical products, but wrote a little kid's book that took off. When I say little, I mean like short, but it just took off, became a series. She's in the best-selling children's author category, and that was the bulk of her income last time I checked in with her. Is this thing's just kind of taken off? It's got its own community, and so we love these creative ideas that kind of take legs. But in all cases, we love to see the foundation being something just like the dinosaur dad said in the book. Hey, find a way to serve others. I love that the dinosaur dad didn't say, well, let's find out what you're passionate about, son. No, he said, let's find a way to serve others. And right now, a great way to serve others is to help Amazon fill all the underserved shelf space in their hundreds of warehouses. Very flexible, very profitable. And then let that foundation support these other things that you feel called and led to do with your life. Build a viable business serving others. I love that because if the dinosaur dad had come out on page one and said, let's discover your passions, like I'd have been like, oh, Greg. Right. But I know you wouldn't go there. Our worldviews are aligned enough. Like that's a disastrous place to start. Instantly about others. Instantly you're going and meeting neighbors and figuring out what they need and serving and becoming passionate about the needs of others. And then, wow, opportunity everywhere. Love it, buddy. Well, what else is on your mind as we wrap this up, man? Good episode. Hopefully it encourages and inspires some folks. Anything else on your mind before we start to go?
I'll just say that, there's a lot of opportunities for toys in the next 6 months. Like I said, take that tip of looking at bestsellers, new releases. Those are, great quick flip opportunities in the next 6 months for Christmas. There'll be articles about, what's hot for Christmas. Be paying attention to all that kind of stuff. Anybody that's looking at Legos, be paying attention to the Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday sales. There's always a very heavily discounted retiring set that can double your money in 6 months.
Mhm.
Always. There's at least one.
Yeah.
Pay attention to those if you're going to into a short hold. And then, like I said, be looking for that clearance stuff in the next, these summer months, because, like I teach in the Proven Brick Investing course, I like to buy items where I can't lose. And by that, I mean, my buy cost is low enough that even if Amazon were to come back in stock or like a worst case scenario happens, like if you look at the Keep a Chart history, I'm at break even at the historical norm. And so you can find all kinds of toys like that where you don't have to take tremendous risk with buying a bunch of brand new release and hoping Amazon goes out of stock for Christmas to make or break it. You can buy strategically
Yes.
by buying low enough to where you're protected
Yeah.
and make a great income.
And that's so in line with what we teach our new sellers around here, Amazon sellers. We tell them, it's about minimizing risk just as much as it's about maximizing potential gains. Because there's a lot of ASINs that you could buy hoping, man, this might go really, really well. But then you lose your investment. Like you don't guess, you don't use instincts. You have to know how to read keep a chart, how to look at the historical data, see what it's telling you, so you can virtually eliminate your risks. You can never 100% eliminate risk on inventory, obviously. 1,000 things could go wrong. But you can get as close as possible to that line of eliminating risk. So your worst case scenario is you get your money back, and your best case scenario is gain versus playing your worst case scenario being a loss, right? So that's the skill set that we teach all new sellers in our community is trying to eliminate downside loss. You can entirely on many ASINs do that if you know what you're doing. And then it's just waiting for the gain. And again, buy and hold. And the nice thing about most Lego, I mean, I got to imagine if you went back in time, say 7 years ago, 5 years ago, to every retired set from that year and looked at what it's selling for now, you don't have to be a genius to find some winners if you're willing to hold them long enough. Just about everything, with rare exception,
Yeah,
uh, over time becomes worth more. That's why you hear people like, "Hey, I saw someone was at Walmart and like under the dusty toy shelf, they got down there and looked, and there was like a retired set from like 4 years ago. They had to look up the price to see what to sell it to them for. It's like dust it off, bring it home, sold it for a ton of money because it was just old, right,
yeah.
from a few years
That
back.
reminds me of another tip, especially like right now with Walmart clearance, is to always look on the top shelf at Walmart.
Top
There's
shelf.
been numerous times where I've walked in looking for Lego clearance, and all of the ones on the regular shelf space are gone. I thought that I missed it, that somebody got there before me, and I just look at the shelf tag and see what set was supposed to be there, and then find 10 of them on the
Up
top
on the
shelf.
top. They just never got moved down. Whoever did the restocking hadn't moved it down yet.
Always at the top
Or you can
shelf.
ask them like, "Hey, you got any more of these?" Have them scan it, that kind of thing. Go the extra mile. Don't just assume they're sold out because the shelf's empty, right? That's why it pays off to be nice and make friends in stores. Don't be the guy with the hoodie pulled up and the glasses on and like, sneaking out with your two cards. No, tell people what you do and the great people you employ and the ministries you support. And thank you for helping me grow my business. I'm just a, small business guy trying to do some things here and move this product from a place of, I like to call it a place of low perceived or actual value to a place of higher perceived or actual value. Serve people who are even more eager than people in this area to get this stuff. Right. I'm going to go serve those people with excellence. And sometimes you get positive responses. Sometimes you don't. I've never been chased out of a store. I've never had someone angrily come over, "Oh, you can't buy our stuff." Never happened. I've heard that stories happens to people occasionally, of people like, "Yeah, the manager said we don't sell to resellers." I'm like, "You don't have to tell them you're reselling then. Just buy them." That's the first sale doctrine in the US. It's law. If I own something, I'm allowed to sell it. That's the basic law. No, and when it comes to Amazon, obviously there's brand restrictions and things. I'm not saying go sell anything and everything on Amazon, obviously, but in general, free market means I can buy things and then sell them to whoever I want. And so I stand on that. That's law of the land. But all right, man. Well, good tips, good strategy. I know we both got crazy schedules today after this, but God bless that missions work you're getting ready to go do, and the kids you're going to go do it with. Man, this sounds awesome. And every chance I get to work with you, Greg, I value and I appreciate and treasure it, man. Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. All right, listeners today who hung out and listened to Greg and I chat back and forth, we could have gone like an hour longer in about 6 different directions, but I pumped the brakes just for you because I didn't want this to be a 9-hour podcast episode. But if you want to hear more great conversations like this, scroll back in time. If you're new around here, you're going to hear hundreds of interviews of students and leaders from the proven Amazon course community. People who've grown very real businesses. They're doing well. They're here to encourage and inspire you with a success, give you tips and pointers and strategies, completely free. To my knowledge, this is the only podcast in all of e-commerce that features hundreds of success stories from the students who are doing the stuff that we teach on the show. Pretty cool. Proof of evidence, or proof of concept, I should say. That's what we do here every episode. So thanks for hanging out with us today, and know that we're going to bring you more great episodes very soon. God bless you, business building warrior.